Start in a moment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening. On behalf of PMI, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia chapter, I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar. We are delighted that so many of you were able to join us this evening. The reason why we arranged this workshop is that we are focusing on our vision to be the leading professional institution of project management advocacy in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as well as our dedication to effectively keep you well cultivated and well versed in the field of project management, and ultimately to contribute in the advancement of your own career. Our valuable members, thank you for joining us today. It's a great honor to have you all. Without further delay, my name is Ahmed Al-Shangiti, and I'm really honored and pleased to host today's workshop titled Business Analysis in Agile versus in Predictive Approach, presented by Mr. Sha'ban Osman, instructor from Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport. Mr. Sha'ban is one of the leading educators in Agile and project management. He works as a freelancer instructor in project management, risk management, and business analysis. He has graduated in project management from AUC, Faculty of Continuing Education, since 2015. Also graduated in engineering from Asyut University, Faculty in Engineering, since 2002. He has some certification from PMI, namely PMP, RMP, PBA, in addition to additional certification from IIBA and CBAP. He worked in infrastructure projects for 16 years and worked as a business development manager and business consultant. Currently, he's the CEO and co-founder of Proactive for training and consulting company. Before I leave the stage to Mr. Sha'ban, I'd like to let you know that in case if you have any question, please, you are requested to just write it down in the Q&A section, and it will be inshallah answered at during maybe the workshop as Mr. Sha'ban sees fit, or at the end of the workshop itself. It's expected that inshallah our session will last for about 1 hour. We'll try to make it short, and I'm sure that we will enjoy together. For your information, this workshop is recorded and will be published on our social portals. Mr. Sha'ban, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed. And I would like to thank PMI King of Saudi Arabia chapter about this invitation to introduce my today webinar about business analysis in Agile and the business analysis in predictive approach. So I would like to start with my CV, summary CV. So actually, I authorized instructor from PMI. As Mr. Ahmed said, so I'm an engineer. Actually, I worked as a project manager for construction project. And additionally, I worked as a business consultant and a business development manager. So I would like to introduce my knowledge in addition to my experience in business analysis. Actually, I work as a part-time instructor in Arab Academy for Science and Marine Transportation. So I want to start my webinar directly from this point, but I would like to ask our attendants one of the major questions. So my question is, how many business analysts, professional, practice Agile from your expectation? So if you want to participate in this voting, please write your percent in the chat. So how many business analysts, again, my question, how many business analysts, professional, practice Agile? You can guess. How many business analysts? 20, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%? How many business analysts? Could everyone participate in this voting, please? 60%, okay. How else? Thank you so much, Dr. Hagar. Wow, 99%. Mr. Nawaf. Okay. I would like everyone to participate in this voting, please. I would like everyone to participate. 40%, 45%, 10%. Okay. We have many attendance. 50%. 30%. 45%. Yeah. Who else can participate? How many business analysts would you expect that they practice Agile in their business analyst steps and activities? Yes. So we have different perspective about the number of business analysts who practice Agile in their business analyst professional life. But actually, there are some surveys which introduce that 71% from the business analysts practice Agile in their business analysis activities and steps. Actually, this survey is introduced by IIB, International Institute in Business Analysis, and this survey was in 2019. So actually I can say that most of the business analysts practice Agile. This is our starting point to introduce our comparison between business analysis in Agile and the business analysis in predictive approach. So I would like to say that our today agenda will be the definition of business analysis, in addition, the importance of business analysis in our industry, in different industry. Also, I will start to explain the difference between predictive and Agile in conclusion. And in addition, I will explain the business analysis in Agile versus the business analysis in predictive according to PMI business analysis guide. So then I will talk about a conclusion about today's webinar. And at the end, we will receive a question to participate in our discussion. Actually, this webinar will focus about, as we said, the business analysis in Agile and the business analysis in predictive approach. But first of all, what is the importance of business analysis? Actually, business analysis contribute on the project success. So according to PMI survey, 47% of the unsuccessful project fail to meet original goals due to unclear requirement. So the main reason behind failure in a project is unclear requirement. So sometimes business analyst can called as a requirement engineer. So requirement elicitation and requirement analysis is a core task for the business analyst in different fields. In addition, business analysts can contribute to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization by up to 55%. So actually, business analysis is fundamental for organization and for project success. Actually, this is a survey from PMI according to PMI guide to business analysis. And now, what does mean by business analysis? What does mean by business analysis? Could anyone participate in this question? What does mean by business analysis from your perspective? From your perspective, what does mean by business analysis? Who can participate in this question, please? What does mean by business analysis? In short statement, please. In short statement, what does mean by business analysis? Do you think that business analysis is a project management, or before project management starting, or after project management tasks or activities closing, or what does mean by business analysis from your perspective? Requirement analysis, okay, finding solution to problem by collecting and analyzing data, enable change. Yeah, collecting requirements, analyzing and validating it. Part of a project feasibility. Yeah, very good. Part of a project feasibility study. Product management. Yeah, very good, Dr. Hagar. Product management. And what else? What does mean by the meaning of business analysis? Actually, there are misunderstanding about the meaning and the tasks of business analysis in many industry. Planning, yeah. Abdurrahman says that business analysis is planning. Business analysis is a planning for the broad. What else? What does it mean by business analysis? Actually, business analysis have different definitions according to PMI and IIB institutes. So first of all, I would like to introduce the definition of business analysis according to PMI. PMI says that business analysis is application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to determine, understand, define the problem and the opportunities. In addition, business analysis is used to elicit, yeah, analysis and design of information, yeah, very good. It's used to elicit and the document, also communicate the requirement to the stakeholder. Also, business analysis is used to define solution for organizational problem. Someone says that we can use business analysis all over our life to mitigate negative risks and exploit opportunities. Yes, for sure. So we have product risk analysis according to PMI guide for business analysis. So business analysis is application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques, mainly to define the problem and the opportunity in your enterprise or in your organization. This definition is according to PMI guide to business analysis, but actually there are another meaning of business analysis according to IIB. Business analysis is enabling a change in your organization. This change may be a project, may be a program, may be a portfolio, may be just update or a change on currently processes or procedures or information system, or maybe a restructure or restructuring of your organization. So business analysis mainly focus about defining problem and opportunity. In addition, managing and creating a change in your organization. So this is the meaning of business analysis. Actually, business analysis can be applied on a predictive life cycle or on agile life cycle or agile approach. So first of all, I would like to define what does mean by predictive approach. Actually, a predictive approach focus on the projects which includes high amount of information. So if you have enough information about the project, you can plan the project in advance. You can develop any required plans, any required documents upfront the project. So in predictive life cycle, you can decrease the amount of risks which may occur during the project. Actually, a predictive approach expected to take the advantage of high certainty. High certainty means that you have many information and actually requirement will be stable or may be a fixed requirement during the project, and the changes will be minimum according to the predictive life cycle approach. But in addition, a predictive approach can implement the project according to phases. So you can start your project by analyze requirement, then design, set up a design for your information system or for your project. Then you can build or execute the design or execute the project. then you can test, and actually at the end of the project, you can deliver the final product. So predictive approach means you can plan in advance for each step in your project. So I will introduce how you can apply the business analysis in predictive approach. So this is just a definition about a predictive approach according to Agile practice guide. But what about Agile? What does it mean by Agile? Could you participate in this definition? What does it mean by Agile? What does it mean by Agile? Supportive, directive, controlling. This is a meaning of Agile. What does it mean by Agile? Actually, I prefer the participation for any session. Flexible to change, good. Flexible to change. Iterative, yes. Someone says that a PMO can be supportive, directive, and controlling. Yeah, thank you so much for your information. Producing minimum viable product. Minimum viable product. Modification. Resilience. Yeah, resilience equal flexibility. Yeah, very good. Collaboration with a stakeholder in the process of the project. Yeah, very nice. What does it mean by Agile? It change driven. Yeah, very good. Change driven. Adapting change. Yeah, adaptability. Yeah, thank you so much for effective and efficient participation in my question. It change driven and keep customer feedback on each iteration. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Khalid. Thank you so much. Actually, the Agile ability to create and manage change during the product life cycle or project life cycle. So again, Agile is the ability to create and manage changes during the product and the project life cycle. It changes may be major change, may be minor change, whatever, may be expected, may be not expected, but actually we manage change in Agile to keep stakeholders satisfied. In addition, to get feedback from a stakeholder, also to update our product to added competitive advantage for our organization. So in summary, in conclusion, we can say that Agile is ability to create and manage change during the project lifecycle. So I would like to introduce some survey about the top 5 areas where business analysis practice Agile. The first area or first industry is the information technology. 59% from the business analyst in information technology practice Agile. Then in business process management, 50% from the business analyst actually work on the business process management, practice Agile. A product owner, 42%, change management, 38%, and project ownership, 33%. This is a survey from IIB, International Institute in Business Analysis, actually indicates that information technology include most of the business analysts who practice Agile. So I would like to say that Agile actually implemented mainly an information technology. But predictive lifecycle or predictive approach is used often on the construction project. To be able to successfully manage his project, someone says that to be able to successfully manage his project, a project manager must have the some area of expertise of the project to deliverables. this is a definition of Agile, or what, or this is a definition of what? So actually, this survey indicates some good information about using Agile in business analysis in different industry. But now, actually, I would like to say that Agile include iteratively, include improving learning curve. In addition, Agile focus on getting feedback from the customer to reach customer satisfaction. So this some information about Agile to go for project management, to go through our comparison. So now let's go to the our today mainly topic is the business analysis in Agile versus business analysis in a predictive approach. But I will introduce this comparison in form of business analysis steps. So for each step, I will give the information about how to apply Agile in this step and how to apply business analysis in predictive or in Agile approach. First step in business analysis is to identify problem or opportunity. Actually, if you start your work as a business analyst, you have to review business value. First step is you have to review business value of your organization. And you have to keep your eye on the strategic plan, But after you review the business value and review or update the strategic plan, you can define the problem or opportunity for your organization or for your enterprise. But what will be the effect of Agile when you think to identify a problem or opportunity? Actually, there is no effect. There is no impact. So if you apply Agile or apply predictive, so you have to identify a problem or opportunity in your organization. So for this step, there is no difference. There is no impact. But actually, in Agile, you can define more problems, and problems can be occurred during the project life cycle. So what is campaign method? Yeah, I will give some information about campaign method later. Actually, I start to business analysis comparison in Agile and predictive, and also I will answer your question at the end of our session. Okay, so identify problem and opportunity. It's similar in predictive and in Agile, there is no difference. The second step is prepare as is statement. Actually, prepare as is, or the meaning of as is to define or analyze the current state of your organization. And this step comes after identifying the problem or opportunity. But what is the impact or effect if you apply Agile or apply predictive approach? Actually, if you use or implement your project or solution by predictive approach, so you have to analyze the as is or current state in upfront the project before starting any initiatives, before starting any project or a program or portfolio. But on Agile, actually you have to identify as is, but not on full details before starting the project. So during execution of the project, you can iteratively update the as is statement. The as is statement on Agile methodology. So what will be the third step in business analysis and its impact or effect by Agile or by predictive lifecycle? The third step is prepare as to be statement. Actually, in business analysis, we have as is and as to be. As is called current state. As to be is called future state. And there's a difference between difference between current state and the future state is called, who can fill in the blank? The difference between current state and the future state is called transition. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for your participation, Mr. Nawaf. Yeah, gap. Yeah, it's called gap. So the gap is the difference between current state and the future state. And you have to satisfy the gap. You have, as a business analyst, you have to satisfy this gap. So if you define the current state or as is a state, then you have to define the future state. Actually, future state, this is influence matrix in Agile. Yeah, very good. The future state is called the expected goals, objectives for your organization. Actually, in a predictive, the 2P state must be performed before starting the project in full details, and you have to get sign off or approval about these steps before starting any initiatives. But in the other side, in Agile, you can define the as to be in high level, not in full details, because you don't have full information. You don't have full information about the expected project or the expected products. So in this case, you can write the as to be state in high level. Actually, you can write the goals. So there is a difference between goal and objectives. Objectives may be subsidiary from the goal. Goal may be implemented for more than 1 year, but objectives can be implemented in less than 1 year. So the third step is preparing the as to be state. After you prepared the as to be, I'm so sorry, this is the as to be after preparing the as is state. The fourth step is prepare the product roadmap. Product roadmap means the steps to reach the final product, or the phases or states to reach the final product. So if you apply predictive, the roadmap will be in full details. The roadmap will be in full details in form of milestones, features, or maybe on projects or initiatives or changes. But on Agile, the product roadmap may be high level, mainly focus on short term or small batches, rather than focus on the full solution. So in predictive will be more information than on Agile for developing a product roadmap. The fifth step is preparing the business case. Actually, what does it mean by business case? What does it mean by business case? I prefer question from time to time. Actually, I prefer question from time to time in all our sessions. So what does it mean by business case? What is the content of business case? Someone says that to meet the requirement, to clarify the gap, to be addressed. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Salim. What does it mean by business case? What is the business case? Before we give the comparison between Agile and predictive. Feasibility study, Mr. Khalid says that it's a feasibility study. Business case, investigation about its pros and cons, reasons to start the project, study to cover. Yeah, very good. Justify your need. Yeah, justification for proposal, explaining the problem and the provide solution. Yeah, justifying a change. Who can participate? Business case includes situation statement and recommended options. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed. Scope management? No, it's not scope management. Actually, business case is economical feasibility study. Economical feasibility study, according to PMBOK 6 edition. But in business analysis, we always say that business analysis, business case is the conclusion of the feasibility study results. Business case is a conclusion, is a summary of the feasibility study results. So business case is a starting point to initiate project, program, or portfolio. So now, what is the effect or the impact of the business case if you apply predictive or if you apply agile? Actually, in predictive, you have more information. So in predictive, business case will be full detailed and must be formal document, and you have to get sign off. You have to get sign off about the business case. On agile, actually, you will have a business case, but business case will be high level and maybe approved informal or verbal approval. So this is mainly difference between preparing business case in a predictive and preparing business case in agile. In any case, you have to prepare business case to start your project and it focus on the project objectives or on your strategic plan. Is that the feasibility study? Dr. Hagar asked a question. She asked me, is the business case is a feasibility study? No, it's not a feasibility study. It's the conclusion of feasibility study because you can perform feasibility study for more than one project. But after you performed this feasibility study, you will select the most recommended option. After you selected the most recommended option, you can prepare a business case, one business case for the selected project. So I would like to explain business case as a conclusion, a summary of feasibility study results. So in business analysis, according to PMI, you have to perform feasibility study before or assemble the business case. So to estimate the risk and the budget and all details for your project officially to be submitted. So you can this can be considered as a content of the business case. Now we can continue. So the business case must be developed or must be assembled before starting the project in full details for predictive and in high level in agile to define the project objectives. The next step is identify and communicate the stakeholder. So I would like to say that you can identify stakeholder from the first point. You can identify stakeholder in business analysis from the first point, which was identify problem or opportunity. But actually, when you assign as a business analyst, you have to identify key stakeholder. But after you assemble the business case, you can define the individual and more information about stakeholder. So we put this step after assemble business case to be more logical. So this step include identification of a stakeholder, and you have to identify stakeholder on a predictive in addition on agile. But in a predictive, we identify stakeholder and write their attitude, their culture, their impact, their influence on the formal document, which called stakeholder register. But on agile, you can write the information about stakeholder in any format, And the stakeholder in agile must be communicated daily. You have to communicate with the stakeholder in agile daily. So sometimes we call that you have to perform daily stand-up meeting with stakeholder in agile. So communication in agile is more important than communication on a predictive life cycle. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So this is one of the agile principle or agile values. Agile principle or agile values. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This is one of the agile principle or agile values. This is a question. You can participate in this question. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Principle, values, principle. Who can participate? Oh, the time is consumed. Value. This is one of the 4 values of the agile mindset. This one of the agile value, not agile principle. Okay, so the next step will be business analysis planning. Actually, you have to plan for upcoming business analysis activities. For example, if you apply predictive approach, you can prepare business analysis in full details to define the upcoming tasks, the upcoming time required, resources required, and so on. But on Agile, you can plan for upcoming steps, but on high-level steps. You have to plan on the Agile, but on high-level information, not on the full details information. But in general, we plan on predictive. In addition, we plan on Agile. The main difference is the details. You have no details on Agile, but you have full details on predictive lifecycle. The next step is assess business analysis performance. Actually, assess business analysis performance means that you have to compare between plan and actual. In predictive, you can assess business analysis performance in clear information and in a specific way, according to lessons learned, which can be collected from the previous phases or previous project. But on Agile, you can improve your performance in business analysis by collecting retrospective. But actually, in Agile, there is a concept which says that inspect and adapt. Inspect means that you can review, then you can modify, you can repair, you can improve. So Agile mainly focus on iteratively work, but predictive, you have to plan in advance. The next step is prepare and elicit requirement. Actually, elicitation means that you have to gather requirement in addition other product information. In predictive, elicitation can be done in full details, and you have to plan for each step in elicitation in full details for a predictive approach. But on Agile, you can plan for elicitation, but in high-level steps, not in full details. In addition, on Agile, you can elicit requirement per iteration and progressively elaboration. But in predictive, you can elicit most of your information before starting your project. What are the main challenges in performing business analysis in Agile environment? The main challenge is the changes. In addition, unstable requirement. In addition, unstable objectives and goals. Because the customer can change his objectives, can change his goals, can change his requirement over the project lifecycle. This is the most challenge for business analysis in Agile approach or on Agile environment. So actually, I can advise any business analyst who practice Agile to be more flexible and to be more communicator and collaboration with a stakeholder interactively and daily to to be successful business analyst in Agile. The next step is create and analyze models. Actually, after you will set requirement, you can transfer the requirement into models. Models may be context model, may be ecosystem model, may be a feature model, may be scope model, and so on. Actually, in predictive, models will be clear, maybe will be full details. But on Agile, you can prepare a models, but in high-level information, and these models may be modified and updated throughout the project lifecycle. The next step is create acceptance criteria. Actually, what does mean by acceptance criteria? This means the required user acceptance test, or day in the life test, or exploratory test, or inspection steps, audit steps, and so on from the quality standards implementation. So actually, on Agile or in Predictive, you have to create acceptance criteria. You have to create an acceptance criteria on Predictive and in addition on Agile, because on Predictive or on Agile, you have to review the implemented deliverables, and you have to ensure that implemented deliverables align with the required standard. But actually, I can say that on Agile, you have to give more attention to review and inspection rather than on Predictive, because on Agile, you work per iteration and you have to deliver quickly, and get feedback from the customer per each iteration. So in the Predictive or on the Agile, you can create the acceptance criteria with the same importance. The next step is verify and validate, also prioritize requirement. In Predictive, you can review requirements formally, and you can get formal acceptance about the requirement. So you can validate and verify requirement in formal manner. But on Agile, you can apply user story review, just review of user story or review of backlog. This can be considered as a validation and the verification of the requirement on Agile approach. So the user story review or backlog review on Agile will be informal, not formal. The next step is assess design option. Actually, design option is visual representation of stakeholder needs. After you get the requirement and validate requirement, you can prepare the most suitable design option. In Predictive, you can prepare this required design in full details. But on Agile, you can prepare a prototype or mock-up for expected product for a review by stakeholder, and you can modify and update this design option over the project lifecycle. The next step is traceability matrix. Actually, what does it mean by traceability? The traceability matrix is link between requirement and design option or design feature. In addition, link between the requirement and the business goals and objectives. So sometimes traceability called bi-direction, because it link the requirement to design feature. So this called forward direction, and it links the requirement to the business goals and objectives, and in this case called backward direction. So traceability matrix can be applied in Predictive in full details by all required attributes. But actually on Agile, we may use backlog refinement instead of traceability matrix. Backlog refinement can give the job of traceability matrix on Agile methodology. The next step is approve requirement. From our previous information, we can say that on Predictive, you have to get formal acceptance, formal approval, formal sign-off about the documentation of requirements. But on Agile, the review of backlog or the prioritization of backlog can be considered as an approval of the requirement. So in summary, the approval on Agile will be informal, but the approval on Predictive must be formal or sign off. The next step is managing changes. In fact, in Predictive, we have some changes, but any change in Predictive must be documented formally and must be approved formally also. But on Agile, any change can be added to the backlog. And then as a business analyst or a project manager, you can refine the backlog to include the new changes without formal approval from the key stakeholder. So no formal change management procedures on Agile, but there is formal change management procedures on a Predictive approach. The next step is evaluate solution performance. Actually, on Agile or Predictive, you have to evaluate the completed part of solution or the final product to ensure that you implement and achieve the goals and objectives for business analysis and also the goals and objectives for your organization or enterprise. The last step or the next step is release the product. Actually, in Predictive, we release the final product once a time at project closing. But on Agile, you can release the completed product per iteration. And this can be considered as an advantage in Agile because for each release, you can get feedback and improve your learning and your information for upcoming iteration. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is the last step about how to implement business analysis in Agile and how to implement business analysis in a Predictive approach. Last but not the least, our conclusions say that 71% of business analysis apply Agile approach. In addition, in Predictive, you have to plan all your business analysis tasks or steps before starting your project. In Agile, you can modify, you can plan your business analysis steps in high level before starting the project. Then you can modify and update these steps and these features throughout the project lifecycle to absorb any upcoming changes. Using Agile and Predictives for any project depends on the organization and the project circumstances. So now, if you have any question, I'm ready. I'm ready for any question.
Thank you, Mr. Osman. Thank you very much.
I
think there was a question earlier from Mr. Abdul Karim. What is Kanban method, if I believe?
Yeah. Kanban method actually, or Kanban board is used to measure the progress in Agile. So I can draw this Kanban board quickly. Actually, Kanban board is used backlog. This can be considered as a backlog or high-level backlog. In backlog, you can write your requirements. Then in the second column, you can write the required requirements or features to be implemented now. So this column is titled by 2P, requirement to be implemented. Then you can add another column which called in progress, which means that what are the requirements now implemented. And the other column be the requirement under testing. And the last column will be the requirement ready to be delivered, or the completed deliverables to be delivered to the end user or the customer. This is some information about Kanban board or Kanban system, which mainly used on the Agile methodology. Can we get the presentation for the later review? I think this will be available. There is a question from Mr. Nawaf. We know that in Agile, there are changing requirements. Have said that. How it's possible to efficiently conducting business analysis change requirement? Actually, I said that you have to be flexible business analyst. You have to be flexible, and you have to daily communicate with a stakeholder to get their update about requirements. Actually, the Agile mainly used to deal with the changes. So as a business analyst to practice Agile, you expect that you will have many changes. So from my perspective and from my opinion, Agile can be used mainly on information technology, because in information solution or information technology, you can update your system, you can modify your requirement and the backlog with least cost. This cannot be occurred in construction project. So on construction, we can use predictive. So as a business analyst in Agile, you should be a communicator. You should be an integrator with a stakeholder to deal with their changes about requirement. And actually, you can deal with these changes by divide your product into small batches and small iteration to decrease uncertainty and increase your confidence level. What do we need to baseline the requirement in Agile? No, just you can review and refine backlog. Backlog can be considered as a baseline in Agile. Baseline requirement actually used on a predictive only. But on Agile, just review your backlog, just you refine the backlog. This can be considered as a baseline because backlog can give you a flexibility and the resilience to update and change requirement throughout the project lifecycle. But if you used a baseline, the changes will be more difficult. And this will be against the principle of Agile. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Any other question about business analysis in general or business analysis? Can we use rolling with planning in both Agile and predictive? Actually, I think so, because rolling with planning means that you can plan in details for current state, for current work, and the high level planning for future work. For example, if I manage a construction project and the project include more than one phase, so as a project manager, I can plan in full details for the first phase and prepare an outline or roadmap for the upcoming phases. The same concept can be used for the Agile, but rolling with planning is more used on the Agile rather than on predictive lifecycle. How we describe the relationship between business analyst and the product owner? Actually, according to Agile Practice Guide from PMI, this book consider that the business analyst and the product owner is the same person. the business analyst and the product owner is the same person. But on the other hand, we can say that the small difference between the business analyst and the product owner is in the mega project, in the big organization or big enterprise, you can have a department specialized in business analysis. So in this case, you can find a business analyst and then you can find a product owner, because business analysts focus on all business analysis steps and tasks. But the product owner may focus on the implementing or achieving the business value during the project. So we can say that the product owner may be one of the business analyst teamwork. Another question. Hi, okay. Hi, how do we get the videos for this session? Mr. Nawaf, can video will be sent? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Is there any other question? Is there any other question? We have 1 minute. We have 1 minute. Okay. So there is no question. Actually, I'm very happy. Thank you so much for, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for your attendance. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Khalid. Finally, thank you so much for PMI King of Saudi Arabia chapter board of director about this invitation. Actually, thank you so much for our friends who attend my today session. Thank you so much and goodbye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Shaban. Thank you all for this attendance, and thank you, Mr. Shaban, for this rich workshop. Many thanks to you and our valuable members for being loyal to our PMI KSA chapter. Just to inform you that the PDU will be sent to you through emails to claim through your emails, and then you can claim your PDU. Before we call it a day, just a reminder to follow us on our social portals and websites. I have just put it in chat. You can follow us in Twitter, in LinkedIn, and you can visit also our website. And you can write to us in info@pmiksa.sa or membership@pmiksa.sa. You can find all this in our chat. With this, our event come into an end. Once again, we thank you very much for your kind attendance and active engagement for the past 1 hour. Thank you and goodbye. And I hope you have a nice evening. Thank you.